All the way back in June 2020, the ACG held a poll to decide what structure deck would be being made next, and after waiting a long time, seriously, it's like a year and a half by now, the Cyberstrike structure deck will finally be released soon. And like many other people, I'm excited to build a Cyber Dragon structure deck. Cyberdarks? Never heard of them. However, like with a lot of structure decks, they can be improved upon if you buy a few extra cards to supplement the deck. And now, thanks to this video, you won't need to go tracking down which important cards are missing. I just want to give two quick warnings. The first is that I'm not covering staples, so stuff like Forbidden Droplet or whatever hand trap is in season won't be covered. And secondly, I'm recording this before the full TCG list for the structure deck is released, so if they do decide to change things up a bit, there might be a few slight variations compared to what's in this video. If that does happen, I'll make sure to update the description though, or pin a comment, so make sure you scroll down a bit to check that out. Anyway, to start off, the main thing you'll be lacking when building a Cyber Dragon deck from Cyberstrike is the extra deck. While it does include a few extra deck cards, they're mostly focused around summoning Cyberdark End Dragon, and while that is a cool boss monster, it doesn't really fit too well into pure Cyber Dragons, so you'll need to buy the extra deck yourself. For their fusions, there's a few that are worth buying. Chimeratech Megafleet Dragon is the first, and it's a powerful form of removal for the deck. Does your opponent have a strong boss monster just sitting in their extra monster zone? Just summon a Cyber Dragon and fuse it away into this then. It's a bit like having a Kaiju in your extra deck, although more situational since not every deck puts its strongest monster in the extra monster zone. Then there's Chimeratech Fortress Dragon, which has a sort of similar effect, instead fusing away as many machine type monsters on either field as possible. And hey, there just so happens to be a powerful extra deck monster that's a machine type that loads of decks run. This means that if your opponent is sitting on a Zeus, they'll need to use its effect on a single summon of a Cyber Dragon, or risk it being fused away as cost. Chimeratech Rampage Dragon is a fusion that takes any two Cyber Dragons. It's fairly easy to summon, and when you do, it allows you to destroy at least 2 spells and traps on the field. Then you can send light machines from your deck to the graveyard, in order to give it extra attacks that battle phase. Versatile and good at enabling OTKs, you'll want this card in your extra deck. Then we move on to the Excuse Cyber Dragons, which help by actually giving the deck a negate. Cyber Dragon Nova is the stepping stone monster of the extra deck. You make it with 2 level 5 machine type monsters, and while you can use it to boost its own attack, you'll most likely instead just use it to revive a Cyber Dragon from your graveyard, before ranking it up into Cyber Dragon Infinity. Cyber Dragon Infinity gives the deck something to actually do when going first, giving you an Omni Negate that also destroys just by detaching a material. You can also give it extra materials by targeting any face-up attack position monster and attaching it to your Cyber Dragon Infinity. This is basically a must-have for Cyber Dragon since it's one of their more powerful cards, so make sure you pick up some Novas and Infinities. Finally, onto the links. There's only actually one Cyber Dragon Link monster, but there are some other links that can help the deck out too. Cyber Dragon Seeger is their link monster, which you can summon with a Cyber Dragon and any other light machine. To sum up this card, it basically gives up its attack for the turn to boost another machine with at least 2100 attack by another 2100 attack. Remember Chimeratech Rampage Dragon? Yeah, it's now a 4200 attack monster that can attack 3 times. At that point, it's an easy OTK. Salamangreat Almirage also has some uses, letting you get a small Cyber Dragon into the graveyard, either to revive it with something like Cyber Rev System, or to trigger a graveyard effect like Cyber Dragon Hertz. Then we have the Verti Dragoon package. Now since this is where it starts to get really expensive, you can just skip Dragoon and only play Verti Anaconda. Since that card is actually useful in Cyber Dragons by itself, I'm sure you already know how Verti works with Dragoon in most decks, but in this deck, Verti is also useful since it can send Overload Fusion, allowing you to easily make a Chimeratech Rampage Dragon and just OTK your opponent. So far, we've only been going over the extra deck, and I have to admit, Cyberstrike has a much more complete main deck than extra deck. There are still a few things missing though, most notably everyone's favourite honorary Cyber Dragon card, Galaxy Soldier. Galaxy Soldier is the level 5 light machine monster, so it fits right into the deck. You summon it by discarding another light monster, and when you do, it can search another copy of itself. Since its effect to summon itself isn't once per turn, you can then just discard another light monster. And with those 2 cards, you can make a Cyber Dragon Nova. This card, along with Yugioh's monsters, are probably the most important additions to the deck, letting you at least make a Cyber Dragon Infinity, so even if you're playing casually, you should probably consider getting at least a few copies of those cards. As a then Galaxy Soldier, there's a few more Cyber cards that aren't included. The first is Cyber Rev System, which allows you to summon a Cyber Dragon from your hand or graveyard. One copy is probably enough, since it has some niche uses, just searching it off core, then linking that into a Null Mirage, reviving it with Rev System, and then making a Vertianaconda. Finally, Cybernetic Overload is a trap that lets you banish Cyber Dragons from your hand, field, or graveyard, in exchange for some non-targeting destruction. As a bonus, when it gets destroyed, you can search a Cyber spell or trap. You can even trigger that effect yourself thanks to Chimeratech Rampage Dragon, so it definitely has its uses. Finally, it's time for honourable mentions. There are actually 2 more fusions Cyber monsters that have some very specific niche uses, which are Cyber Twin Dragon and Cyber Eternity Dragon. Eternity is a monster with 4000 defense and a bunch of protection, so it can help you survive for a bit. And Cyber Twin Dragon attacks twice with 2800 attack, which can help you beat over monsters if they're too strong for a Chimeratech Rampage Dragon, and you couldn't make a Cyber Dragon Seeker that turn. Cyber Eltonin is another card that people do play sometimes. At the cost of banishing all of your light machines, it summons itself and then gains 500 attack for every card that you banished. Then, once summoned, it just sends every other monster on the field to the graveyard, providing some emergency non-targeting removal if your opponent has something that you just can't out. Finally, I wouldn't be satisfied if I didn't at least mention the following card. It's definitely not competitive, but it's so much fun to pull off that you might want to consider it anyway. That card is DNA Surgery. With this, you can now turn everything on the field into a machine-type monster. Now, do you remember Chimeratech Fortress Dragon's effect? That's right, if this is applying its effect, and you have a Cyber Dragon on the field, you can fuse away every single monster your opponent controls into a Chimeratech Fortress Dragon, basically mass kaijuing your opponent's board. Probably won't happen often, but when it does, mwah, delicious. Anyway, that should just about cover the cards that you might want to buy in order to supplement your Cyber Strike Structure deck. Will you be getting the Structure deck, or any of these cards? Tell me down in the comments. And if you enjoyed the video, remember to give it a like, and also subscribe to the channel. That's all for today.